starts now.
Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm Erin Sullivan. Nebraska lawmakers are working to eliminate a large budget shortfall. It's the aim of a bill up for debate in the legislature. First Alert 6's Philip Katafamo listened into the chatter in Lincoln and shares what LB 650 does.
We have a constitutional requirement to balance the budget, and today is one of the ways that we can accomplish that.
State lawmakers face a large budget shortfall projected at $289 million. LB 650 looks to tackle some of that hefty figure. If passed, the bill would sunset 12 previously passed tax incentives to help reduce the deficit. Those 12 incentives on the block include the Food Donation Income Credit, Relocation Incentive Act, and Urban Development Act, to name a few. They were chosen using what Senator Brad Von Gillern calls a last-in, first-out formula.
We've sought to highlight some of our newest initiatives and incentive programs as opposed to others that have been on our books for a longer period of time and been more widely utilized and therefore more heavily relied upon.
If it makes it past the final round of voting, LB 650 could increase revenue by about $71 million.
$71 million goes a long way towards the current projected $289 million deficit projected for the next biennium.
During debate, Senator Terrell McKinney of Omaha questioned how cuts to recently passed initiatives help shave the deficit, specifically the Urban Redevelopment Act passed in 2021 and Chief Act passed in 2024.
If we're repealing these bills to help small businesses and business growth, especially in economically distressed areas, please explain to me what is the increase in revenue that the state is getting? What is the savings?
He suggested an alternative to help bring down the deficit: stop building the new prison in Lincoln. McKinney says the $350 million facility is already over budget, and he says overcrowded when it opens in 2028.
Don't build a prison, bring it back into the general fund, and you don't have to make a tough vote.
Senator Danielle Conrad also has some hesitation about the bill, mainly where the $70 million will be generated and its impact to everyone.
And now we're seeing in the last biennium and the special session, and again this year, all kinds of attempts to beg, borrow, and steal, to increase taxes on local businesses, local consumers, increase tuition, increase fees across the board to fill the budget gap that is self-created and reckless and irresponsible.
After debate wrapped, it was time for a vote.
36 ayes, 2 nays on advancement of the bill, Mr. President.
LB 650 advances to ENR initial.
That means the bill advances to the next round of debate. In Omaha, I'm Philip Katafamo, First Alert 6.
A full list of all the potentially impacted incentives is on our website. Just go to firstalert6.com and click on this story. Nebraska Governor